Hello, everyone. I am David Loop, Doctor of Nursing Practice and Family Nurse Practitioner. I'm super excited to be making this video today because we have recently done some major upgrades to our system, and I just want to take this opportunity to showcase them. A little background about us. RD Health Services is the premier service plan management system in Arizona. We have been blessed to be able to serve a little over 220 assisted living facilities since we started doing service plans in 2015. And in this video, I just want to take just a brief overview on how our system works and invite you to try it for free for 30 days. If you love working with us, you can continue on a monthly plan or on a pay-per-service plan option. And if for any reason we're not a good match at the end of the trial, no worries. So you got yourself some free service plans, and we got to meet someone new. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so when someone first creates an account with us, this is going to be their dashboard where they're going to have their group homes. Whether you have only one assisted living home or multiple ones, this is where you're going to be able to edit your group home details first. Put in your information about your assisted living facility, your phone number, your business address, all those things. And also you can set how much you would like to charge for service plans. Some of you get reimbursed for service plans by resident representatives. Some of you include it as part of the cost of them living in your home. But if you do charge separately for service plans, this is a great way for you to be able to set a price for each individual service plan or for each individual home separately. I'm going to click on cancel. After your service plan, after your group home details are saved, you can click on manage residents. And this is where your residents are going to be listed. To add a new resident to the system, you just click on add new resident. And it's going to give you the option to put in their first name, their last name, and add a picture of the resident. So once this resident is in the system, you already have their profile and you're ready to get started on their service plan. So to get started, you're going to click on Resident Service Plan. And this is the service plan that you're going to be filling in. For the sake of time, I went ahead and just filled in this service plan myself, but just a little overview on the information. This first page is like a face sheet, just some demographic information. And of course, all this information is fictional. This patient does not exist. It's just for me to be able to show how the system works. So the patient name, initiation date, physician phone number, TB skin test when that was completed, resident representative, the level of care, and of course, throughout the service plan, we have implemented these question marks so you can hold your mouse over them, or if you're on a phone or a tablet, you can actually tap on it, and it'll give you the definition of a lot of these things. Something that might be, not very self-explanatory. You can hold your mouse over that, and it will actually give you the definition of what it means. Some of the things in the service plan are going to be pre-filled. Just to make it a little bit easier and faster for you to do the service plans. Like I said, we've been doing service plans since 2015, so a lot of the information on service plans is going to be the same for every resident. So we went ahead and pre-filled that, and of course you have the option to edit that if something doesn't apply. So also when you select the level of care and select either initial or routine change or changing condition, you put in the date. And then the date of next service plan due, that's going to be automatically calculated by the system. So you don't even have to worry about when the next service plan is due. You just put in today's date on the initiation date, you put the type of service plan it is, and the system automatically does the math to figure out if it's going to be in 3 months or in 6 months or whatever the case may be. Towards the bottom, you have the option to put in the medical diagnosis, allergies, height, weight, and like I said, all that's preliminary information. So we're going to click on next. Next, you're going to come to this chart of of activities of daily living. You're going to have the option to select how much care and how much assistance your resident needs for each one of these assisted activities of daily living. Also in the frequency section, we went ahead and pre-filled those with the information that should be on them, most of them. Like I said, if something is different, you can go ahead and edit it and put your own, but most of the time, this is what is pertinent. Then you have this hygiene section that shows, gives you the option to select how many times a week somebody gets a shower or a bath and who does this, whether it's the hospice CNA, caregiver, or both. Then you're going to have either hospice or home health, the option to select if the patient is on hospice or home health. And if they are, then you can select from this drop down the time, the length, and the frequency of each discipline that sees the patient. So the next page is just a quick overview of the body assessment of the patient. So you're going to have vision, speech, hearing, mobility, kind of like an overview of how the patient is doing. And you can select from the multiple choices here and also add your own comments to be able to enrich the service plan with more information. Some aspects are going to be required, and the system won't let you go forward with the service plan unless you fill those in. And one example of that is if you select wounds under the integumentary, which is just a fancy word for skin. If you select that, the system is actually going to make you elaborate on the comments on who provides wound care, what type of wound it is, and things like that. It's just a state requirement. After you're done with this body assessment section, the next part is diet and medications. You can select the diet the patient is on, how much they're eating and drinking, and then this is an example of the options that are pre-filled for most residents. Residents encouraged to drink 6 to 8 cups of water per day, and then residents encouraged to eat snacks and meals as tolerated. So the state likes to see that you do encourage the resident. Of course, some residents may be on a fluid restriction, and that's when you can actually go ahead and unselect that or keep it selected, whatever works best for you. The medication section, again, we pre-fill this with the most common, medication options for the patient, which is the medication is administered following doctor's orders. The doctor delegation to caregivers to administer medications is in place, and the medications are stored in the assisted living facility as opposed to the patient's room, and also that the resident receives staff assistance in the self-administration of medication. And this is some fancy verbiage from the state, and if you have any questions of what that exactly means, we have added this tip field that will explain you the differences. So, and like I said, most of the time, most residents will need this level of medication assistance. And if they did it at a different level, you can go ahead and click any level that they might need. And then the second to last portion of the service plan, it's going to be additional information, strategies to ensure the resident's safety. You can select any that are pertinent there. Activities to promote cognitive stimulation to maximize function for the resident. You can again select whatever is applicable for your resident. Coordination of communication with the resident's representative. You can select how often you communicate with the POA and then what method, if it's phone calls, visits, or whatever the case may be. And then assistive devices of the patient. Does the patient have a hospital bed, an air mattress, a wheelchair, whatever sort of device they have, you can select and include that on there. And then you're coming to the last part of the service plan. This on the very top, you have a note section. If you feel like you want to touch base on something that wasn't addressed on the service plan, this is where you would include that. And then you can put your manager name. It could be their manager or delegate, and then the resident representative name. You can sign it here online, but you can also sign the service plan once you print it out as well. And then over here is we can select how much you would like to charge for the service plan. You can select initial service plan fee for an initial service plan or an charge for an update service plan, which sometimes are different. Like I said, the system just allows you the opportunity to select how much you want to charge families for the service plan. So after you have done that, you can click on submit. And then this actually sends the service plan over to us. So we receive service plans and we review and sign service plans on a daily basis during normal business hours. So we review and sign all service plans within 1 business day of submission. And having said that, I personally look over the entire service plan and just make sure that all the address fields are all the mandatory fields are addressed. And then if I do have any questions or any concerns regarding the service plan, or feel like we need to elaborate somewhere else, I get in touch with the person who submitted the service plan and we make those changes. Okay, and after we review and sign the service plan, you're going to get an email notification saying that the service plan is ready to go from our end. In order to access the service plan, you're going to click on the resident service plan PDF report, this option right here, and that's going to open up the service plan. We'll do that in just a minute, but first I want to showcase a few of the other options that you have here. On the very first option, you'll see send service plan for POA signature. This is actually one of the new features that we just added this week. So it's going to make it super easy for you to be able to get a signature from the POA or resident representative on your service plan. So all you have to do is click on that option and then put in the email address of the person that you want to review and sign the service plan. Once you put it once, the system will automatically save that email address for further use for that specific resident. After you have put in the email address, you click on submit. and then the system sends an email to that person requesting them to review and sign the service plan online. So, and also it's color coordinated, so you'll be able to see the status of that. So right now it says service plan sent for signature. Once the POA reviews and signs it, it's going to say service plan was signed, and it'll give you the date when it was signed. Also, talking about color coordination, right underneath the patient name, you're going to see when the next service plan is due for an update. And then also when the TB skin test is due for an update. These are color coordinated with when you have 1 week or less to update those, they will turn yellow. And then on the day that they are due, if they're not updated, they will turn red. And you also get an email notification when that happens. Another neat feature that we have added is the ability to be able to store previously completed service plans in the system. So when you click on that option, you'll have here option to download previously completed service plans. So you don't have to, we do recommend keeping them in the binder, printing them out and keeping them in the binder, but you don't necessarily have to, as the system saves all previous copies of service plans completed. Okay, so when someone gets an email from us in order to review and sign a service plan for their loved one, this is how it's gonna look in there, and they're gonna get a link in their email. And when you click on that link, it's gonna open up this window, either on the phone or the computer, and they're gonna have access to the entire completed service plan for the resident. And this is how it's gonna look. Just gonna scroll down slowly, and they're gonna have the body assessment section, the preliminary information, the nutrition, medication, all these options. And at the very bottom of the page, they're gonna see the area where they're gonna be invited to sign the service plan. So they can either draw their own signature. If they're on the phone, that's gonna be a little bit easier. On the computer, it's a little bit weird with the mouse. Or what they can also do is click on type signature, and then they would just type it right here. And they'll click on save, and that will automatically sign the service plan for them. So this is super useful for people who are out of state, or people who don't have access to a printer, or they can't come to your facility to sign the service plan. All they have to do is click on the link, scroll, review the service plan, scroll all the way down, and click on sign the service plan, and then your service plan is going to be signed automatically. They're going to get this confirmation that says POA signature has been saved successfully. So now, if you refresh the page, you'll see that that is going to say service plan signed by POA on the date when it was signed. Now we can go ahead and click on the service plan PDF report. When you click on that, it will generate this PDF report that you can open, and then you'll have the completed service plan, which will include my signature as the healthcare provider, and they will include the signature of the POA because they just signed the service plan online. Also, if you sign the service plan online, it will include your signature on here too. If you didn't sign it online as the manager, then you'll have to sign it once you print it out. And just to kind of go over it, again, this is the resident face sheet. Everything is very neat, organized, clean. One of the reasons we started this system online is because it was very frustrating to work with very messy handwritten service plans that you didn't really know what was going on. The paper had been updated with different color pens and things like that, and it was just very confusing. And we'd have seen resident group homes get deficiencies from Arizona Department of Health Services because the service plan was pretty much illegible. So again, this is a very clean, organized overview of how the system creates the service plan itself. So we're going to go all the way to the bottom, and you're going to see here that is going to have my signature. And of course, we need a time and date stamp when we sign something online. It's going to have the resident representative signature. And over here is where you will sign as the manager or the delegate. And again, if you sign it online, your signature will appear here as well. And the last thing that I want to showcase is if you are someone who gets reimbursed for service plans, what you can click on is resident invoice. So every time a service plan is updated or an initial service plan as well, the system automatically generates an invoice that you can print the same way you print the service plan and give it to the family for reimbursement. So I clicked on that, and it will open up this invoice. It will have your assisted living address and preliminary information. We'll have the invoice and for who the invoice is for, as well as the item description of what the family is being charged for. And at the bottom here, we have added just a little definition of what service plans are and why they are required in the state of Arizona. So yeah, you can go ahead and print this form and give it to the family. Hopefully they reimburse you. I know that some people do, some people don't, but if they do, that's a neat and great option to have. Well, that is it. That is the system in a nutshell. We have kept it as simple and as efficient as possible, and our customers do love it. Well, thank you very much for your attention and for your time you spent watching this video, and I look forward to hopefully working together in the future. If you have any questions or concerns in the meantime, you can reach out to me over my email. It's david at rdhealthservices.com, or also my phone number is 623-300-6581. Thanks again, and have a great day.